All right, Saints fans, this is Saints News Network. I'm John Hendrix, and we're here with Brendan Boyle. Hey, it's week one. We're almost here to kickoff, guys, and we're here just to talk a little bit about the pregame show, some of the things that we're doing. Brendan, how you feeling, man? We're seeing all the action that's going around the league, and it just feels good to see football back on the screen.
Man, I didn't even know if we'd be here. If you asked me about 2 months ago, I would have been skeptical of anything happening. And so just like you said, to see it on the screen and know that Saints football is going to be back here in the next, half hour or so, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I mean, there's been 1,000 storylines already just from these early games. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's looking good. Atlanta's not looking so good. There's been some players that's been lost to injuries. It looks like Marlon Mack out of Colts, and you always hate to see stuff like that happen. But even just watching this Raiders team, the Saints are going to play in week 2. I mean, they're getting banged up all over the place. So, look, I think week 1 is one of those things where you just don't know what you're going to get. And I think we've all alluded to it in some of the columns that we've wrote over the past couple of weeks that this could be some sloppy football. There could be some adjustment periods. But then again, we saw what Kansas City did on Thursday night against the Texans. And, maybe this is just what the doctor ordered. So what's your thoughts on things going into this game?
Well, I think injury-wise, that's the one thing you have to look out for, especially with there being a lack of contact in training camp and in the preseason. But if you want to talk about a team that is going to mirror exactly what Kansas City did on Thursday, I think you have to look right at New Orleans, a team that brings back a lot of the same roster, obviously the same quarterback, the same head coach for the last decade and a half. I think that's going to be a big role, not just for the Saints, but for a lot of teams around the league, is how much unity was there before the whole COVID-19 pandemic, and how much do you not have to sit there and try to teach a playbook to a bunch of new guys. How many guys come into camp, come into week 1, and they kind of know the drill already. So I think the Saints have the upper hand, especially against the Bucs this week with Tom Brady, new quarterback, new system. I know he's got weapons galore, but timing's a big thing. And when you're not able to get maybe as many reps as you were hoping to in the offseason, that can cause some early season flunders.
Yeah, let's start with the Bucs. And here, obviously, the big news for everybody who doesn't know, Mike Evans is going to play. He went from basically being on his deathbed and not being able to play with a soft tissue hamstring injury, and now he was upgraded from he's downgraded to doubtful. Then he got upgraded to questionable. He tested everything out. He's good to go today. I know that's a big boost for their offense, and then obviously Marshawn Lattimore is going to have their hands full, but in addition to Evans, what are some of the things that you're looking for out of the Bucs today on the offensive side that we might not be paying attention to?
Well, I think the big thing is you have to watch these running backs. I think Leonard Fournette, that splash news was a big thing, but let's not forget they have LaShawn McCoy, and I know McCoy, an older guy, but Shady McCoy led the league in rushing touchdowns just, 5 years ago? You have a couple guys here that can do a multitude of things, and I think it's going to be important, like I said, with Brady, who's still going to get that timing down with the receivers. If he can rely on those running backs a little bit, it's going to be really beneficial to them. And they have 3 guys. They're going to be able to rotate, have fresh legs. But remember, this Saints defense really good against the run last year.
Yeah, look, and I think some of the things that we got to pay attention to, I think offense is going to be a great thing for the Bucs this year. May not see it completely in week 1, but what I am a little bit concerned about is the 3 tight ends they have. And it's not just Rob Gronkowski, right? You've got Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard, guys that you're not really going to be able to account for in some matchups. I mean, you would think they were able to, but, you get all 3 of them on the field at one point. I think we could see that. Then it's going to be interesting how the Saints match up there. And, look, I think the focal point for this offense is you got to look at their offensive line and see where it's going to actually land. I mean, there's a big task on their hands, with Tristan Wirfs and stuff, and Cam Jordan getting after the pass rush. Obviously, Marcus Davenport's not going to play in this game, and we'll get into that in a second. But, for me, I think the offense with Brady, I think there'll be some hiccups there. But, look, I think the Saints defense with Aaron Glenn and Dennis Allen and all those that veteran leadership there with Malcolm Jenkins back there and Demario Davis, I mean, I think they can make the adjustments to be able to see what Tampa's going to throw throw at them and be able to come out of this game on top for sure. And then let's flip the side on the Saints right now. So let's run down some of the inactives, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the matchups. But you're already going to miss Marcus Davenport. He's out with an elbow injury. And then you're out with Cesar Ruiz. He's dealing with an ankle injury. PJ Williams is out of this game. He's going to miss with a hamstring injury. He was a limited participant in practice on Friday, so unfortunately he doesn't get to go here. And then you got a few extra inactives now, so it's different because the league had shifted. Instead of a 46-man game roster, you can carry as high as 48, assuming that 2 of those are offensive linemen. So all 8 offensive linemen are active today for the Saints. And they called up Margus Hunt and Benny Fowler from the practice squad. But the other inactives for this team, you've got Shai Tuttle, defensive tackle, which means we'll probably see a lot more Malcolm Roach. And then you've got Zach Bond was the biggest one that I think was a little bit more of a question mark. And so what are your thoughts on that, not having Bond today in the lineup?
Well, I think the big thing that a lot of Saints fans are excited for is Alex Anzaloni being healthy. I think he's going to provide a lot in that linebacking corps right next to Demario Davis. And Bond was interesting right from when the Saints selected him in the draft. You knew he was a versatile guy. He could run around, do a couple different things. He was very good off the edge as a pass rusher as well. So you're disappointed you don't get to see that, but I do think the Saints have a lot in that linebacking core that they still don't know about. And in week 1, they're able to throw a couple things out. I know a lot of people high on Caden Ellis, our very own Bob Rose, loves what Ellis can do. And I know that's a little bit of a different linebacker spot, but you have some pieces that you're able to fill right there. But especially, like you said, against these the tight end versus linebacker matchup for the Saints against the Bucs, it's going to be tough. And I know that you probably wanted a guy like Bond who's a little quicker side to side. And unfortunately for the Saints, he's unable to go.
Yeah, and Marquez Callaway was the other guy that was inactive for this game. So, look, I guess all in all, Adam Troutman's going to be the only rookie from their draft class that's starting today. And then obviously got Malcolm Roach, the defensive tackle, undrafted guy that's playing in this one. So, look, we talk about the Bucs offense, but then let's talk about the Bucs defense for a second. And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. We'd be happy to answer any of them in our brief time together today. But look, the Bucs defense, I think, their front 7 is as talented as everybody. And Sean Payton even talked about it. It's like, look, a 3-yard run is going to feel like a 50-yard run. What do the Saints have to do today, Brendan, to be able to move the ball with ease and maybe get and settle into their groove? And what do you expect Tampa to bring as far as challenges today?
Well, I think the biggest thing for the Saints is you have to be comfortable getting those tough 3 yards, and also find a way in the offense to extend just extended run plays, which sometimes those are screens, those are swing passes, just little dump offs, very quick design things, get the ball out of Drew's hand quick, and that can make up for some yards that you're not able to find against the 2019 best run defense in the NFL. So I think that's where you have to start. And you can pick on these cornerbacks a little bit. Remember, worst against the pass last year. I think they were 29th overall in terms of total defense, the Buccaneers. So what can Drew get done early, and what matchups can he find? You mentioned Troutman, and, I hate that we didn't get to see him in the preseason. I hate the preseason was cut short just to see what Sean Payton wanted to do with another big pass-catching guy. I know Sean loves him as a blocking tight end as well. So what little things can you get going early? How can you make up for not getting maybe 5-6 yards a carry sometimes, right? So that's where it's got to start. How do you find those yards that are going to be so difficult against this front 7 that you alluded to? And then also, you didn't have Jason Pierre-Paul if you're the Bucs. You didn't have him for a little bit last year, but still managed 8 sacks. That's going to be a big thing for Tampa Bay and their defense to have him across from Shaq Barrett. You're going to have different packages to get those guys towards Drew Brees and apply some pressure. So for the Saints, stay patient. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think obviously the timing is going to be huge here, right? And you're not going to have Ruiz at right guard. You're going to have to put in Nick Easton. And, Andres Pete was obviously banged up a little bit. And hopefully it's a good sign that he's fully recovered and ready to go today. So, look, I think they can run the ball. Of course, the patience is going to be everything. I would expect Sean to bring in some wrinkles in here. Latavius Murray's a guy who can run in between the tackles and run outside if he needs to. And, we can't even forget about Taysom Hill and maybe some of the plays and wrinkles that they brings in for that. And, I think a sleeper for me would be a guy like Ty Montgomery. I want to see him get involved in the offense. I think, he's been extremely motivated to get here. Probably won't play a ton of offensive snaps, maybe probably 10 to 15, 20 at most. But I expect to see some play designs that have him in it. And I really want to see what Deontay Harris is going to bring. I mean, I know you make a big move, and he's been working really hard, trying to work on his game as a receiver. And so, look, I think when it's all said and done, the Saints have the tools, they have the weaponry to move the football today. I think the question mark really is about, hey, what does the Bucs secondary look like? Antoine Winfield Jr. is a really talented safety. I'm interested to see what he can do. And if he can get the Bucs secondary, straight a little bit, then I think it'll be a little bit tougher to move the ball today. But still, Saints offense, when on paper, it's hard to pick against them. And let's think about the opposite side of the ball, right? And the defense, slowing down, stopping Tom Brady. Because this is the narrative that's come in here, right? And we've got a few minutes left here, but the Saints defense is underrated. And obviously they made a huge push for Jadeveon Clowney. You don't have Marcus Davenport today in this game. You call up Marcus Hunt from the practice squad. Is it going to be enough to have Trey Hendrickson, Carl Granderson, and Marcus Hunt rushing the passer? Do you see any new wrinkles or different wrinkles with the Saints defense? I mean, this is a team that had 51 sacks last year, most in the Sean Payton year, and most since 2001. So what do they have to do to get after Brady today and really affect the guy who really likes to change things up at the line?
Well, I think you said timing. Timing's a big thing for Brady. And you have to remember, in a world where it seems like every quarterback is mobile now, we probably have the two least mobile quarterbacks left in the NFL in this matchup. So how do you get Brady off of his spots? To your point, you don't have a guy like Davenport opposite of Cam Jordan. Are all those other guys going to be able to get to the quarterback? So do you throw some zone blitzes at Tom Brady? Do you bring a corner every now and again? How creative can Dennis Allen get in those blitz packages? However, we've seen Brady pick people apart against the blitz. So are you confident in that front four, whoever you throw out there, to get at the quarterback? I expect a lot of maybe 3 defensive end packages opposed to 2 defensive ends and a defensive tackle or 2. Like I said, how creative can you get? And with the linebackers that you have that are active, how many guys can put their hand in the dirt and maybe go get after the guy? I know Bond would be a guy that you would love to see do that, but we mentioned before he's inactive.
Yeah, I'll tell you one guy I'm going to keep an eye out on is Sheldon Rankins. He's back to 100%. He's been getting real rave reviews on how he's looked, and his injury that he's dealing with. Unfortunately, it was just one of those degenerative type of things, and so he doesn't expect to have any more problems with it. So I think he's somebody to keep an eye on that maybe could line up outside. And this is a guy who had a monster 2018 season. So look, they restructured his deal earlier this just a couple days ago, or actually when they got the Kamara deal signed, he freed up $400 million. So look, I'm interested to see what they can do, and I think with the secondary, you may not see it all come together right here and there, but I feel good about what the Saints are going to be able to bring to the table. So a couple minutes left in here, and I guess let's get it out there. Brendan, how do you see this game going? And let's talk about score prediction. What do you think is going to happen in this game, and who's going to come out on top?
I think the one thing that a lot of people are looking at and expecting is a shootout type of game, and I don't expect that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the crazy offseason that we did have. You're not going to see everything maybe come together in week 1 like you're used to. So I'm going to take the Saints in this game, probably 28-21. I think the Bucs get some things going offensively, but some things that the Saints are going to be able to do in the secondary with the multitude of safeties that they have that can play in the slot as well. And Malcolm Jenkins being the perfect example of that. I think they do a couple things to Brady that throws off his timing. I think they confuse Brady just enough without that crazy Superdome crowd, and I know they're going to miss that, but I'll take the Saints 28-21. Not as high scoring maybe as people want, but the Saints still come out with the victory.
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I think, I've said it all week in various spots is I think the team who gets to 30 is going to be the one that wins. I don't see this tipping, a high scoring affair. I'm taking the Saints 30-23. And again, I think this is also a double-edged sword because if the Saints lose this game, the Bucs are the best team in the NFL, right? And if the Saints win this game, it's because the Bucs are too new and they still got to figure everything out. So, look, I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm just glad that, we got Saints football back. Hopefully everybody enjoys it. We've got the hurricane threats that's coming out here down to New Orleans. So everybody, please stay safe. Take the proper precautions now. Our thoughts, our hearts are with everybody here that are having to deal with it. And guys, we just want you to enjoy football today. Everybody should be able to see this game, except some people on the West Coast in California and Arizona. So it should be an entertaining one, and hopefully we're all smiling at the end. And if not, it's just week one. So we just be glad that football's back. Any parting thoughts there, Brendan?
I think the biggest thing to watch in this game is how the Saints offensive line gets off the ball. We talked about it earlier. The run is going to be very important. I expect Latavius Murray to get maybe more touches than one would expect, but I don't expect him to put up any great fantasy numbers or anything. So if you're looking at your fantasy roster trying to make a last-minute change, I wouldn't go with Latavius Murray, but some of those 2-3 yard carries by Murray in this game are going to be extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I expect there's probably something near the goal line. If they probably use a little bit more Murray too. So, well, that's it for us on the Saints News pregame show. Guys, tune in at halftime. You'll hear from Bob Rose and then Kyle T. Mosley. And then obviously keep up with us at Saints News Network, si.com/NFL/Saints. On behalf of Brendan Boylan, I'm John Hendrix. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.